Shelly came to see me many years ago because she was having chronic migraines. And she said, I can't take it anymore. I'm literally going to kill myself. You're my last hope. I've tried everything. She said, you don't understand. Every day for the last 10 years, I've had these migraines that feel like it's a thunderstorm in my brain. And these bolts of lightning are cracking in my head, slamming against my brain and the back of my eyes. And I can't even function. I'm just wasting my life away in a dark bedroom. My husband tries to help, but even if he touches me, I just start screaming at him because every sensation just creates pain in my body. And I've done everything. I've taken every pill, every potion, everything that I can do. I've gone to the Diamond Migraine Clinic for 10 years, and they're supposed to be some of the best in the world. And I still have gotten barely any relief. I don't know what else to do. And I've heard stories like this so many times from people. I had someone else tell me one time, she said, I'm just so frustrated because my therapist keeps telling me that therapy is long and hard and difficult and painful. And most people have to go it through 5 or 10 years before they even start to feel better. What kind of suggestion is that? That's madness. That's insane. And it's false. It's 100% false. So here's what's going on. We go through traumas. We go through big T and little t traumas. Little t traumas are getting embarrassed, getting humiliated, not being picked for the team. Your best friend becomes your worst enemy, right? People make fun of you. You got bullied, right? Bad things that happen to us that make us feel bad about ourselves. Then we have the big T traumas, the sexual abuse, which there's so much of it out in the world, the physical abuse, the verbal abuse, the emotional abuse. And then we go through racism and sexism, and we go through all kinds of difficult losses, or people who have health challenges or health problems, or people that die, right? Your dad died, your mom died, your grandfather died, your best friend died, your boyfriend died, you almost died. Here's the deal. When you go through a situation, whether it's a small trauma or a big trauma, it's traumatic. That's why we say it traumatizes us. That's where it came from. And so your brain makes beliefs. It makes up meaning, opinions, interpretations about what just happened means about you, about others, about the world around you. And your brain makes up these interpretations when you're a kid. So imagine having a 2-year-old create a belief about you and the world, and then it lives by that belief for the rest of its life, right? Would you want an inner 2-year-old running your life? No, but a lot of us have that happening because that brain and that mind, it says, hey, my parents just divorced. It must mean that I'm not good. And now I have this belief that I'm not good and I'm not worthy of love and people will leave me. And so now I chase approval, and I'm afraid to use my voice because if I use my voice, then I'm either going to get hurt or attacked, or people are going to leave me. And so I can't even use my voice. And it causes us to develop all kinds of dysfunctional strategies. So we become the class clown and always get in trouble, trying to chase that approval, trying to get that validation, try to get that pat on the back. That's what I always chased, right? And I got in so much trouble for it. But my brain didn't care because I just wanted you to like me so that I could like me, right? Or we don't use our voice because, man, if I stand out, that's when I get leveled. That's when I get hurt. That's when I get abused. So I have to be invisible. I have to be invisible and nobody sees me, right? So we develop all these different ways to deal with these beliefs that are in our mind. Now, in the beginning, it might have just been a survival technique. That's why we call them defense mechanisms, because our brain's trying to protect us from getting hurt in the ways that we can get hurt. Those beliefs, however, when we grow up, are still in our mind. And after doing thousands and thousands of sessions for 28 years, I discovered that those beliefs, if you upgrade those beliefs and then you free people from the toxic emotions and then you give them resources that they didn't have at the time, they still don't have, that changes the game almost instantly. You can have breakthroughs that feel fast, that feel comfortable, that are sustainable, that makes it empowering and inspiring and beautiful, instead of what most people go through, which is talking about your problems forever and not really feeling any better. My wife and I almost got divorced because we went to a marriage counselor, right? Who all they wanted to do was get us to talk about everything we were upset about, and then our whole family system. You don't have to have the whole family system. You don't have to have all these details. You don't have to talk over and over about the most worst things, the most awful things that you've ever been through. You just got to find what are the beliefs that your mind formed without your permission, without your consent, without your opinion, without you even knowing it. What are those beliefs? And then let's upgrade them and improve them. So most common beliefs are I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not safe, you can't trust people, right? I'm not allowed to be who I am. It would have been better if I wasn't even born, what we call the crime of existence, right? So we have all that in there. So what we have to do is we got to find those beliefs and upgrade them. That's what I did with Shelly, with the woman that came in for the migraines, right? So she said that she had all these migraines. In our first session, it turns out she had experiences where her father was being incredibly inappropriate, right, with her. And I don't even want to say it, but right, you know what I'm going after, right? And in just a very inappropriate, unethical, horrible way. And it was very abusive. And she repressed it because she didn't want to deal with that, right? Because it was so much. Because what a break in trust, right? You're not even safe in your own home. And then she felt like her mother knew it, but ignored it because they didn't want to be a scandal. They didn't want the family that had the scandal. So her mom didn't do anything and didn't protect her. She had even more rage towards her mom than she did her dad. So we did that session, and her belief was that I'm not safe, even in my own home. And you can't trust men, right? And you can't trust women either. And so she went through life with her guards up all the time. And she said, I could never say anything because no one would believe me or listen to me anyway. So it was like a pressure cooker. She was like a pressure cooker. She's like a teapot, and she could never let the steam out. So she was having migraines, and people have digestive problems. They'll have physical problems. They'll have all kinds of problems when your body's full of inflammation for 30 years. You're going to have every problem there is. And so people try to treat it physically, but it's an emotional issue, right? And so we freed her from those beliefs. We made her feel safe. We protected the little girl inside of her. We replaced the anger and the rage with self-love. And that's what we call the awakening, where we find your deepest beliefs and fears and we upgrade them, and it frees you from them, which is incredible. I've done this thousands of times with thousands of people all over the world. And a lot of them are sharing their story so that you hear it from them, not just me, right? Because I know we hear so many people saying, oh, I got this new breakthrough, this or that, right? And it's just marketing and sales hooey fooey, right? This is actually legit stuff that I have tracked and measured and tested and reported and refined and shared. And now I'm sharing it with the world, and I called it my one belief away method, because you're just one belief away from having a huge breakthrough. So that's what we do in session one, the awakening. We find those core, deep, foundational beliefs, and we upgrade the beliefs, and it frees people from the nightmares, from the physical pain, from the emotional pain, from the anxiety, from the panic attacks, from every kind of health challenge. It's amazing how many people have been freed in a couple of sessions from chronic pain and chronic coughing and chronic fears and all kinds of issues. Then I realized in session two that people still have all that emotion, right? Wayne Dyer used to say that if you get bit by a snake, the snake bite hurts for sure, but that's not what paralyzes you. It's the poison. And we got to get the poison out. Well, most people don't know how to get the poison out. And what I learned is that the poison are unconscious beliefs. We got to get the unconscious beliefs and get them out. Okay. So we upgrade the beliefs with the awakening. But then I realized in session two, we had to do the releasing. And that's where you release the emotions, the toxic emotions. Now, emotions in general aren't toxic unless you get stuck in them. If you get stuck in anger, guilt, shame, rage, self-pity, then all of a sudden you have anger control issues, you have impulse control issues, you have depression, you have anxiety, you have panic attacks, because it's your brain trying to figure out, how do I get out of this mess? So what we do is we release those emotions in a peaceful way, in a loving way. I went through so many programs where they had us screaming in pillows and beating up bags and screaming and yelling and running around, and it was so traumatic, but people thought that's what you have to do. And I found out that is not what you have to do. You don't have to talk about it 1,000 times until it loses its meaning, because that can actually re-traumatize you. Instead, you are able to release it in a peaceful way by being able to share what you've always needed to share, and then hear what you've always needed to hear. And you don't need other people to do the right thing for you to get what you need. You have so much power inside of you. People just don't know how to use it. I figured out how to do it after doing tens of thousands of individual coaching sessions. I figured it out. Then in session three, so now we've healed the beliefs, we've upgraded the beliefs, we pulled the weeds and we planted flowers. Then in session 2, we release us from that poison, from that toxic emotion. Then in session 3, we start adding. See, a lot of transformation is about subtraction, taking away, taking away. I believe you got to have a lot of addition. What are we going to add to? What are we going to add to? How are we going to supplement? How are we going to reinforce? How are we going to empower? So in session 3, we do what I call the shifting, which is how we shift from the way we used to show up and how we react to how we're going to show up now, which is how we're going to respond, right? So before, I'd walk into a room and I think, what's going to happen to me? Now I walk into a room and I think, what do I want to bring to the situation? That's why I always say it doesn't matter what shows up. What matters is how you show up. And what I mean by that is you show up with a new set of resources. You're focusing on what you want. You're asking questions that lead you to desired outcomes. You're using power breathing to access your relaxation response so you feel more calm and resilient and creative. And you're focusing on what you want. The words nowhere and now here have the same letters. It's just where you put the space. The word nowhere, Nowhere, is nowhere or now here, depending on where you put the space. So your results and your goals and your accomplishments and your peace of mind are nowhere to be found, or they're now here. It depends on where you put your attention. I call it the power of the dot, right? Where do you put the dot here, you put the dot there, right? And someone else, I think, maybe even wrote a book on that once. And so it's the power of where you put your attention. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So then we're building up resources. And by our third session, people are having radical changes. Like the person with the migraines, by the second session, she wasn't having migraines anymore. She had a couple of minor headaches, but it was the first week in like 10 years that she didn't have a migraine. She was floored. And then by the third session, she wasn't even having headaches. She had been healed from it. She just didn't have them. And I followed up with her for a year after that, and they never came back. That's extraordinary. How come everybody doesn't know about this? Right? Because most people don't know how to do it. Most people aren't teaching it. That's why I'm out here every day of my life for decades, teaching and teaching and sharing and sharing. And I'm here right now doing it again. And if I caught your attention, I've been trying to get to you for so long. I'm so glad we finally connected. Okay, so now we go into session number 4. And with session number 4, we focus on, this is called the clearing. Okay, so now we've cleared old beliefs. We have empowered you with new beliefs. We've freed you from all that toxic emotion. You're feeling alive for the first time. You're feeling safe and confident and empowered for the first time. Then we give you new resources. So now you're not playing not to lose, you're playing to win. So now all of a sudden you're playing to win, because when you play not to lose, like I did for so long, you lose even if it looks like you're winning. You just still feel like you're losing, like something's always bad is going to happen next. Like the rug's going to be yanked out from underneath me no matter what good I do, right? And that's called playing not to lose. That's what I call it. So we got to play to win, right? And when you play to win, you show up every day winning, no matter what the outcome is in your life, because winning is a sense of peace. It's an attitude. It's a mindset. Like happiness is a mindset. It's a side effect. It's not the goal. It's a side effect of living a peaceful, authentic life and knowing how to use the power of your mind to create your life by design so that your mind doesn't end up ruining your life because of those beliefs. So then in session number 4, once we do all that, then we do the clearing. And that allows us to have anything show up in our way and we use it to our advantage. I had a coach one time said there's no such thing as winners and losers. There's winners and learners. And as long as you're doing one or the other, you're a success. And so it doesn't matter what shows up. What matters is how you show up. So the blocks in our life, I show you how to use anything that shows up to your advantage, right? Use any situation to empower you so that those roadblocks become stepping stones that allow you to see higher and farther down the road than you could before. And that's what we do in a 30-day period in 4 sessions in my One Belief Away method. And it is amazing. It's helped people with sports, with passing tests. It's helped people with fears of all kinds, from spiders and phobias to driving over bridges to fear of flying on an airplane. It's freed people from all kinds of post-traumatic stress. We work with hundreds and hundreds of veterans and their families, freeing them from the atrocities that they experience in combat, right? People that have been kidnapped and molested and broken down in every possible way you can imagine. And within a few sessions, they are radically turning it around and feeling happy and peaceful and confident and secure. And it's amazing. And so I put together a program because people are like, well, I need to do this, but so many people don't have unlimited funds. And so we put together a breaking through program, which is a 30-day program. And we do it as a group so that we can cut the price in half, sometimes in third, so that everybody can have access to this. So people are like, well, what are we going to do in breaking through? I just told you, we're going to go through the awakening, the releasing, the shifting, and the clearing. and it will transform your life. I hope to see you there.